you say that you are changing your backgrounds on your, what was that, on Zoom,
Yeah.
on Zoom
So,
broadcast?
so in my Colorado office, I basically put a huge green screen behind me. So then on Zoom, as I'm talking about something, I just change the background very quickly. I have 25 backgrounds that I need in order to explain what I want to talk about. Like the other day, full field
That's
of
pretty
interest,
good.
right? So then I just very quickly change the background
Yeah.
without having to share screen and all that stuff. But I have a little surprise for you, by the way.
Oh, really? Okay.
I do,
Tell me,
I do,
what
I
is it?
do. And hopefully the sound will come through. Listen to this.
Oh, is this Knight Rider? Yeah. Oh boy,
This is where we should start.
it totally dates me. Okay, if you are unaware what this music is, then obviously you're way too young.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we are both jealous, Anric and I. Welcome everybody. Really excited about this one. I think, Anric, this is the one that had the most people interested in joining. We had a couple of lives, but I think this one has the most signups up front.
Well, as you know, I don't do these kind of live things because I'm, despite being, unscripted and unfiltered and unhinged, I am never unprepared. And I like to have Zoom calls where I can make sure that the people that I care about are actually inside the Zoom call. So that's why I'm not a friend of these like live events. But I'm happy to be proven wrong. I'm happy to be coached by people who are experts at it, and that is why I am here today, prepared to get thrown under the bus by you.
No, you once told me, Anric, you recently told me that I'm a nice guy, which is actually weird because I never get that. Nobody would call me kind or nice, but from you, I think I'm basically taking it as a compliment, so I would never throw you under the bus.
No, there's something interesting. You're very direct, but direct does not mean not nice. You see what I mean? And just because you have a very direct strategy that is executed well on how you can help more people, that doesn't make you salesy either. You see what I mean? So I'm actually one of the guys. The reason why you and I have this wonderful friendship, enemy thing going is because I jumped on one of your sales calls.
Yes.
And even though I'm like, you know what, I can run circles around this guy, he's not going to teach me anything.
Yeah.
I caught myself going, hey, you know what, that's quite arrogant because everybody can teach you something. In that process, your personality came very clear to me. And here we are, friends, friends down the road. And I think we're helping a lot of people on LinkedIn together. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a win-win. So I like your sales strategies. I am living proof that they work because I'm sitting right here. Okay.
Exactly. And we even have Evan just posted a comment. Evan is another great example of, and this is kind of the theme of today's conversation, is that fear of rejection is real. It's absolutely a topic. But the key thing is, if you do prospecting, if you do sales in the way how you will learn in this session, you will actually be building relationships. I started talking to Anric and my aim was to sell him something. Not, of course, initially you start to explore if there's a fit. And similar it was with Evan. With Evan, it was actually a cold email that he responded to. With Anric, it was simply a message on LinkedIn. But if you follow the process that you will learn in this presentation, in today's presentation, you will be able to build relationships even with people who don't end up buying from you, right? And so I think that is really key. By the way, before we get started, could you quickly, because it's a weird glitch in StreamYard. It always shows 0 people watching live, and then I see the comments piling up. Could you give us a quick hello in the comments? Just say that you're here. And if you already have a good story, we would love to hear your rejection stories. What is your best rejection story that you are okay with sharing? We can read it out. That will be quite fun. We're going to kick it off. We're going to start with sharing our worst rejection stories. So just quickly say hi on LinkedIn or wherever you're watching this. in the comments so that we can see that you are here, because we obviously know we don't have 0 viewers, but this is a glitch in StreamYard. So quickly say hi and start preparing your worst rejection story. Anric, do you want to start with yours? Do you have a good rejection story for us?
I do, but I don't ever do as I'm told. So I have another tip for you, by the way, for people. You know, anytime you go to your own about me section of your profile, there should be a very simple paragraph that you should be able to cut and paste into the you know, the chat forum very quickly. I'm just going to do mine real quickly to show you. Okay. So when somebody says, hey, can you you know, post something in the chat forum real quickly, all you basically do is drop it into the chat. Can you see that coming up in the chat? Because I never see your chats.
Yes, and you can see it. I've just overlaid it over our screen. Can you see it, Anric?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, that's just from my About Me section, right?
Yeah.
So when somebody goes to my About Me section, so always do that. I don't feel that this is salesy, tacky marketing. You want people to know what it is that you do on LinkedIn. We are here to do business, after all. This is not Facebook where we want to watch cat video. Okay. And we're not interested in what you're eating. We are interested in doing business with each other. So there is no problem about, not obviously with external links, okay, but to drop in there that, hey, this is what I do, this is my superpower, this is what I do, because otherwise you're the world's best kept secret and nobody knows what you do for a living. So you know, when somebody says, hey, can you drop something in the chat, drop in the chat what it is that you do for a living.
That's great. So you guys, you have a lot of to-dos here. You first of all drop your a highlight from your about section so that everybody else knows what you actually do. That's a great suggestion, and thank you, Anric. And in the meantime, you can write your best rejection story if you feel like it, and we will then whichever one makes us laugh the most, we're gonna crown as the best rejection story of the event.
All right,
cool. Anric, tell us your best rejection story.
I'm going to tell that. I'm going to win that real quickly because
go for it.
My father died in 1976, so I was just like a little kid, and I got back to kindergarten. And you got to stop distracting me with these posts here.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
And I got back to the kindergarten, and the other kids in the break time, as I wanted to sit down and play with them because that's what we do at kindergarten. They were going, na, 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 you don't have a daddy, you don't have a daddy. And then I'm like, you know, I got over that and I wanted to go and sit down and play with them. And they said, that was the height of rejection. No, sorry, this is only for kids who have dads. So I did what any good Namibian would do. I picked up the closest brick and smashed the kid in the face with the brick. So then I got thrown out of kindergarten for the second time. So the first time I tried to run away with my first girlfriend, which was Carmen Barry, and we hid under the trees and we ran away together. And anyways,
wow, you started early. Wow, kindergarten.
That was the Convent of the Holy Cross. Yes.
Oh, okay, yeah. Particularly there, you're gonna get thrown out for loping off with the girl. That's great.
It. Anyway, so I mean, that was I think rejection is just something that you get in life all the time. And if you are, you know, it's like skiing. If you're not falling, well, guess what? You're not skiing hard enough. And if you are not being rejected, you are not trying hard enough.
Absolutely.
That is a very good philosophy to run through life with. But, you know, and here's the big issue I have with your strategy. And I can pick any of these things. Okay. So do you have your Casio watch on?
No, not on. It should be somewhere here.
That famous watch that everybody gets to see at the 5 a.m. club. Okay. Okay. So that's Michael's watch. And here is my watch. Okay. So this is not some showboating thing, but this is one of three.
Direct comparison of our net worth. Go for it, Anric.
This was a gift. This was a gift from Lauralouise. This is one of 3 watches in the world of this type.
Oh, wow.
There is no sales, no promotions. Bugatti is not making outgoing marketing, cheap advertising in the world. If you want one of these, you need to know where to get it. Lauralouise actually had to call the president of the company to get it, who sent it to her. But the whole idea behind it is, I always want to be special. I want to be revered. I want to be cherished. I want to be respected. I want to be valued. And somehow when I do outbound marketing, pimping myself, I feel it cheapens the whole thing. So I don't do it. It's not necessary that I have hacked my own fear of rejection. I'll tell you about that later. But I don't want to be seen as like a cheesy marketing sales guy. You know what I mean? I want to be this guy rather than the Casio watch. Make sense?
Yes.
So that's the challenge that you're dealing with today. And you can make a believer out of me. I will sign up and pay you all the money you want.
Okay, good. No, I think that is a great theory. Absolutely. It's just that, where do you start? I think at your point where you are in life, I agree. And actually, one of the points that I was about to make in our short presentation that I prepared, because I am not unscripted and I am hinged, so we are complementing each other. One of the points that I was about to make is that you don't need to do any outbound prospecting. I actually think you shouldn't. You shouldn't. You should have other people do this for you. But the thing is, before somebody comes to your level, and this is my problem with many LinkedIn coaches, they all are pushing the content game. Many of them are pushing the content game. They come from a place where if they post something, it's going to get 100,000 views by default or thereabouts. They just need to put in a link, for a special discount for their deal, and they're going to make 10 sales with one post. Many of them operate like this. And of course, from their point of view, they have long since forgotten what it means to actually hustle for business. Because initially, when you're starting out, you're simply not that good. You cannot play the I'm so special attraction game, because when you're starting out, you are not at that level. And I think what we have been so accustomed to is, because we have these examples of those very successful people like yourself, like many other LinkedIn coaches, even like big influencers, they just say, oh, just go out there and be authentic, be who you are, and people will come to you. This takes time. It really takes time. I can tell you, my first year in business, vast majority of my business came in via outbound. I was doing outbound. I wasn't very good yet. I had to get, just learn the tricks of the trade and learn how to be good. Last year, 2021, was the first year when the majority of my clients came in inbound. Gotcha. I still was doing outbound, and still the majority of clients came in, only then they came in the second year. And that is the thing, right? It simply takes time. So I'm absolutely not invalidating what you're saying. I just feel that there is a period in which you need to dive through when you start a business. And that period that you need to dive through, you can do it in anxiety, biting your nails, hoping that somebody will recognize your genius. Or you could also do what I suggested you do, which we're going to cover in the short presentation that I've prepared.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Here's my body language.
I can totally tell. But I just hope that some people will get value from this by proxy.
They always do. They always do, Michelle.
And so let me share screen. Here we go. So this is it. Fear of the sale. And I can absolutely understand if this is not perfect. That's it, exactly. And I can absolutely understand that this is not for everyone. But if you are not yet this kind of superstar that is Anric Blatt on LinkedIn, you simply need a little bit of help. And this can be done with this. with this form of outbound prospecting. So this is not your usual sales training, because I say starting prospecting conversations builds relationships. It doesn't destroy them. Most people think that it's all about, once you start to get salesy, the person will reject you. This is absolutely not the case. You experience the high of being in charge of your economic fate, and you decide how many clients you will have by simply putting in the work. And using this method, you will actually start enjoying the process. And so here's why you, Anric, you shouldn't actually do any outbound prospecting. I do have a point about inbound, and I'm going to show you what I mean, but here's why you shouldn't do any prospecting. Because you simply don't need to, and you can use that time that you normally would spend doing outbound prospecting. You could use that by being better at your craft, by building higher level relationships, by delivering more value to your clients, because you have crossed that chasm where people come to you, enough clients come to you via inbound. Okay, until you get there, and I really recommend that most people who are watching this, they should simply set themselves a monthly income goal. Let's say this is 10,000, okay? So you want to make 10,000. I recommend that you start doing prospecting. As soon as you hit 10,000 in that month, you can stop doing outbound prospecting and really focus on figuring out the inbound game. Do crazy content, do it really well, do video, follow Anric. You can almost, and this is why Anric and I absolutely welcome clients who we can work together with, because Anric is clearly the man for inbound. He's the guy who can help you how to get those million views over a year, as we covered in our last live, right? He's the guy to show you this, to teach you this, how to do this. I'm the guy for outbound. I'm the guy to help you bridge that gap until you're at the point where just from being there, just from being authentic and being present, you get enough clients into your business. So do the hustle in the beginning of the month. As soon as you hit 10 grand, focus on Anric stuff, right? And this is how through this yin and yang, you will get yourself to the point where it won't take you anymore 10 days. You will, in 1 month, you're going to hustle. You're going to get one client, perfect, 10 grand is in the bank. And then you do inbound, and suddenly a new client will come. So next month, you don't have to do any more outbound, because that 10,000 is already in the bank, and keep focusing on inbound. Okay? So by the way, if I'm ever using terms inbound, outbound, you don't know what that is, just please drop it in the comments. I'm sometimes monitoring them just to see if there's any questions, and I'm going to answer them as we go. Cool. All right. So quickly, how to deal with a negative frame about selling. So you choose how you interpret selling. Is it bothering someone or finding people with a problem I can help them solve? I think the secret lies in the opinion that you hold of your work. If you're convinced that your work adds value to people's lives, why wouldn't you actively go looking for people you can help? That's the point, right? So reframe from this used car salesman who's trying to talk you into something, reframe this into someone who helps other people lift them up, right?
And if I can pause you there for 1 second,
yes.
Because you see the number one cardinal sin that I see on a daily basis, okay, is step one, somebody connects with you on LinkedIn and you go, oh, that's an interesting profile, and you hit okay. Bing, bing. 30 seconds later, there is either this wall of text or some link or some request to jump on a fucking Zoom call with you. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's so annoying because it's very clear that this person has not spent any time looking at your content. They don't even know what it is that you do. The computers, the bots that do it, that misspell your name, and they say, oh, I see you've been at Global Fund Advisors, LLC for 17 years, blah, blah, blah. It's clearly a bot doing it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it is so offensive that person who does that kind of outbound marketing will never, ever get a second chance from me at all. I mean, these days, I created a video for them called, I think it's like, why being at LinkedIn is like being at the dog park with dogs sniffing each other's butts. Mm-hmm. I send them to that video and they get the message. Mm-hmm. But it's offensive when somebody who you don't have a relationship with tries to come and sell you something. It's a little bit like those people who call you that say, hey, Michael, I would like to talk to you about your expired auto vehicle warranty. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nobody ever takes that. So that's my pet peeve, and that's what you need to fight, because people don't like that kind of marketing.
Absolutely. And this is actually the two, you just gave me the perfect the two extremes and the golden middle. This is the one extreme you just talked about. It's called the pitch slap. And they start with, hey, name, do you need help with your SEO? We can help. Or download the 27-page ebook here and link, and the wall of text. That is the pitch slap. On the other hand, however, we also have to acknowledge there's the rapport Neverland, where you just, oh my God, I loved your post about your puppy and how's your baby doing? And let's have a virtual coffee and let's waste each other's fucking time.
Yes, absolutely.
It's these people who, whenever somebody tells me that they want to have a virtual coffee, I run, because they obviously have time to waste. They have not even explored if I have a semblance of a need. They just want, like, I have 10,000 plus connections. What do you think would happen to my life? I would be homeless if I had a virtual coffee with everyone in my network. I cannot. I'm not going to. And therefore, we have to find the golden middle. We have to be friendly. We have to be personalized. We have to build a relationship. And yet, at the same time, we need to be goal-oriented. That's the secret here. So this is why we have the prospecting sequence breakdown. Okay, you do this after connecting. You don't really personalize much. You maybe personalize the name in order to connect, but it's not worth your time personalizing your invitation. Just add people, say something like, oh, I see we're both fans of this person's content. Let's connect. People will connect with you. Once you do this, you start with a short opener and rapport. You go into the exploration phase, and then you go into the close. The goal of the rapport is to get them to respond and to build rapport. The risks and mistakes people make is being boring, getting stuck in limbo because it's comfy, or being too salesy. In exploration phase, this is the key thing here. Really pay attention here. The goal of the exploration phase is not to sell to them. It's to find out if you might be a fit with them, if they have a problem that you can help solve. And the risks and mistakes are asking too many questions, not going for the close, and displaying low status. That's a big one. When you always try to,
I got to slow you down, Michael. I feel you're rushing some very, very important points here.
Go for it.
Because you're actually very good at this in person. In that, number one, in the last few months, you have hoovered up all of my LinkedIn connections that are now LinkedIn connections of yours, and they are all commenting on your posts and no longer commenting on my posts.
Come on.
Yeah, totally.
They're super commenting on your posts.
No, it's all always led by the grand mutineer Kevin Belts himself. I mean, he starts it all off and everybody follows. I mean, the man has no loyalty whatsoever. But he did send me some new markers, and he sent me a wonderful bottle of whiskey. So he's cool. He's got lots of credit with me. Yeah, I mean, I have this fun, engaging rivalry with him. But the whole idea basically is that your exploration phase, Michael, is super authentic. And I think therein lies the key, in that you are actually engaging with people in a natural format where they go, you know what? The guy's actually really good. He's got some really clever stuff to say. So you're actually, without realizing it, you're in my style of marketing. You're not outbound marketing. You're in inbound attraction marketing.
Yes, exactly. Also in how you communicate with them, that also matters. Especially, that is why my product is called the Alpha Lead Academy. You want to be the alpha in the situation. You don't need to be perceived as a leader and not as somebody who yaps after them like a little lapdog.
Well, unless you're the lead dog, the view never changes, right? You're always staring at somebody else's
exactly
behind. Yes,
exactly.
All right.
Yeah. And then the close is very simple. The goal is to get them to agree to a 15-minute introduction call. And the risks, mostly people are being too timid. They don't do it, or they do it too early. That's also a risk. One thing, and this is so key in terms of for the exploration, that's the most difficult part, of course. In exploration, you find out if they have a problem you can help them with. You gently steer the conversation to your topic, but you avoid going straight for the kill. Like in my case, do you have problems with client acquisition? Just won't, it's too direct. However, you instead reference something that allows you to enter the space. For example, I see you're quite active on LinkedIn. How's it going for you? Are you seeing results? Okay, it's a bit of an art, but the most important rule is, again, alpha, be curious but non-needy. Curious but non-needy. Big difference here. And this is the key reframe. If you only take one thing away from this live. It's this: you don't want to sell. You want to find the truth of whether you can help. You're not prying, you're exploring, and you're not a salesperson, you're a truth seeker. If you have that frame, this is the only thing you take away from this, your exploration phase in prospecting will get way, way better. And this is why we want to do outbound prospecting. This is why, Anric, I still believe that you're leaving money on the table, but I think in your case, you overall are maximizing revenue because you're being the awesome kind of aspirational character that you are. And that's why with this, you gain more than probably you would gain by doing outbound prospecting. But here's the theory here. If you look at all your entire target market, from eager to non-eager, you get those on the left which say, oh, where do I sign? They just want to sign up with you. Then there's those who are not eager. They would never sign up with you ever. But here are the targets for your prospecting. It's a continuum, right? Some people need to be nudged a little bit. And then among those are the inbounds and the outbounds. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. This is a conversation that has led to a call via outbound. So I'm going to take you through this. It's a little bit on the longer side, but bear with me because I think all of those phases are super key. So I'm just going to read it out really quickly. Michael says, hi, John. I see we're both fans of Anric Blatt and his content. Would be great to connect with you on here. This, by the way, this is a great line. And this is a real conversation that I had with someone. I anonymized it. It's a conversation that I had with someone because we did an experiment, Anric, you and I, where I was doing a little bit of prospecting on your behalf. So this is somebody who on the face of it looks like could be a client for Anric. So I did this prospecting conversation with him. Okay, he says, I'm happy to connect. I say, hey, John, good to be connected. And because he mentioned that he's planning to either move to Oklahoma or Texas, I said, what's it going to be, Oklahoma or Texas? Look how I am taking something that he said publicly and I'm referencing this so that he sees it's not a pitch slap. I'm actually taking the time to reference something that he said. Super important. He says, well, Michael, I'm still working through all the details, blah, blah, blah. As you can imagine, being from Texas, I'm a little biased to my home state. I say, seems like a good choice to make. If it's good enough for Elon Musk, it could be good enough for you. And then he says something about Oklahoma. I'm not going to go into that. And then I say, interesting. Well, that's the beauty of the US, that states are so independent that it's like ongoing lab experiment. Who creates the best environment to prosper? What will you be building? Here, I'm still referencing what he says, but then I'm going into my agenda because I want to know what he's building. So I'm asking, what is it that you're building? Is it some renewable energy plant? He says, this is what I'm building. I say, awesome. All financing secured. I'm getting again deeper into the topic that I want to know about. I want to know if he is all financing secured. He says, LinkedIn has been instrumental in the development of the project. I don't know Anric, but liked or commented on a post of his. Key information here, all financing has not been secured. I'm working multiple paths. I'm saying, great, LinkedIn is a great path to raise funding. Have you had any success so far? I see you posting about once a week and commenting. Anything else you're doing on here, such as direct outreach to potential investors? He responds, basically the essence is he's only connected with people who can help with engineering, not capital raising, and so that's where he is. I say, very interesting. So it seems that most of your work on LinkedIn goes on behind the scenes. And then I say, earlier you said you haven't raised capital, but now you said you don't have to raise capital. I'm intrigued. That's a good line. Whenever they say something that is contradictory, use, I'm intrigued. Tell me more. And he says, at this point, I have not had to raise capital. I will have to raise the funds at some point. And then I say, okay, I don't want the conversation to go on for too long. I say, got it. This is something that Anric specializes in, has helped his clients to be enormously successful in. Sounds like you two could be a great fit. How about we have a short call to explore this option? Anric and I are partners. And so here you can see the phases. The first part is the opener and rapport, then is the exploration, then is the close. This was quite a good example that kind of exemplifies those phases. And very briefly, inbound, this is a shorter one. Basically, somebody started a conversation with me, asked me, have your connections grown significantly since I started posting videos? I say, quite considerably, it's far more of a function of me adding people systematically rather than the videos themselves. He says, as soon as they've liked or engaged with the post, you ask to link in with them. He asks me how I do it. I say yes. And then he shares his problem. He says, I'm struggling with Google PPC. I also want to do video and so on. The results of Google PPC and SEO are bad, and so on. He tells me we should jump on the phone. I might be able to help you with that. So as soon as they confess to having a problem, you can offer that. Offer a call. And this is the one thing that I wanted to show you, Anric, and maybe this is where I can win you over. Because look, these are my outbound stats. I need to start 109 first messages to win one client. So my win rate is 0.92%. That's a pretty good number, right? However, inbound, when people come to you, the win rate is 6.3%. I only need to start 16 first messages to win a client. And so if you get somebody who comes to you and wants to connect with you, and then you see on paper, they would be perfect for my business, why not start a friendly conversation asking, hey, I'm just curious, what caught your attention? And that way you open the pathway, you open the door for them to say, yeah, I've been following you. I'm actually raising capital and I'll be interested in what you do. Then you just simply say, this is what I do. Maybe we should jump on a call to explore. Okay. This is just the idea. I don't think outbound prospecting would be the thing for you, but inbound, I think, might be an option. Okay? So what do you think about that?
I think we should cut the bullshit here, because LinkedIn, I can kid myself all day long, and I think I have a very nice LinkedIn strategy, because remember, I am a disciple of Blair Warren, who has this one sentence persuasion course. Can you kill the screen share there for a second?
Yep.
Because people will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. Now, I will create, and I just fell into this by accident, because I started creating videos throwing rocks at the common enemies. My single biggest conversion video is where I get out and I'm out in the snow and I've got my trusty cowboy hat, and I am talking about my pet hate of fund managers, and I tell them, stop sending people fact sheets. It's a bit like venture capitalists or entrepreneurs who connect with people and send them a pitch book or send them a PPN or some kind of document for them that involves work to look at it, right? And it's basically a rant where I'm saying, stop it right now, because you are training your audience to ignore you. And as a result of that video, I get so many inbound people coming in and going, I had a good laugh at that. You're so right. For 20 years, I've been sending people fact sheets and nobody reads them. And I'm like, yeah, you're just training people to ignore you. And then by sheer authentic goodwill, I said, I can help you turn that around. I can help you attract your clients instead of you spamming them to death and basically training them to ignore you. And like that, I found this wonderful groove where I'm like, you know what? Go and create some content. Go talk about things. I mean, I have a little video on it. I mean, I'll gladly play it to you if you like. It's like, learn how to do LinkedIn in 60 seconds. Let's see if the technology works. You got to give me, how do I share my screen with you?
I think at the bottom there's a controls.
Okay, share and share screen. Okay, share 2 monitors. Sorry, I don't normally do the StreamYard thing, so, and I'm going to share that screen with you. 1 second. Hopefully the sound comes through it. Let's make sure. Okay, Michael, can you see that?
Yep.
I know. Good boy. So the whole point behind that, Michael, is let me stop the screen here. Did I hit it again?
No, but I just wanted to show, some people commented on that quote from Blair Warren, so I just wanted to show it. Evan, this one's for you. You asked for the quote, "People will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies."
I will later put a link into the one-sentence persuasion course from Blair Warren that I thought was actually really, really good. But the reason why I play that little video, Michael, is because I think all of LinkedIn is in some way outbound marketing. Otherwise, it's an external platform. You are creating content. I call it, like, I have that metaphor because I want people to wander around in my garden of content, where people can wander in and they can look at this very strategic thing that I left over here for them. Then there's this wonderful little nugget over here. Then there's this thing that describes what I'm all about. And over time, they've had enough engagement with me where they, and coming back to the Blair Warren quote, where they have had enough time with me under, in my environment where I have had an opportunity to encourage their dreams, talk and justify about their failures, allay their fears, very importantly, confirm their suspicions, and together we are throwing rocks at the common enemies. You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And over time, I have given them these wonderful little ways so that at the end of the month, I can then go, okay, let's go sit down by the fire and have a little chat. And you, and you, and you, not you, because you're mean. You guys come in and let's have a chat. And that's my free content. And in that free content, that's a Zoom call. Quite frankly, we're actually doing that right now, Michael, if you think about it, because people that are here because they want to be, because we have attracted them, and they're reading and they have a relationship with us, and they want to see, and they now realize they always learn something when they watch one of these. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. And this is where my strategy falls short. I don't follow up. Okay. And that's why I'm here today, because I have a wonderful machine that attracts people. And I remember, I do this for a living. I help people raise lots of capital on LinkedIn. But I myself don't follow up because I don't want somebody to reject me or see my approach as being spammy. I mean, quite frankly, I have to be honest with you. When people unsubscribe from my emails, I take that personal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it is. It always is a bit of a jolt that is unpleasant. Like, Jesus, why? I thought we were friends. But
I thought I'm giving you great content. I'm adding value. I'm
exactly
engaging, I'm entertaining, whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. No, but that is true. But here's the thing. You said it yourself in the beginning. I don't know if I'm quoting you exactly correctly, but it's like, if you are not getting rejected, you're not trying hard enough. Yeah. And I think, and here's a thought that just came to me as we were preparing for this. We are so used to see those ultra successful people because they are just one click away. This was not possible 50 years ago, even 20 years ago. We did not have access to people who were seemingly doing similar things to us. And so, because of course we aspire to be like them, we just think that we have to do what they do, and then we will be similarly successful. But this instant access is a fallacy. You don't know what these people had to go through to arrive at this place. And very often, at least in my experience, they don't really share exactly how they got to that place in the first instance. And that's why I think this instant availability of the superstars and this fake impression that they are close to you, which they're not, that leads to the conclusion it should be easy, but it's not. And so I really get it where you're coming from, Anric, on this, where you say, hey, I don't do this. I don't want to be the guy with the Casio watch. I want to be the guy with the three in the world Bugatti watch. Yes, that's fine. And we will all get there. If we apply ourselves, we'll get there. But on that path, if you try and somebody follows your recipe, what if they don't get results in a month or two? And what if they need to bring in cash, right? Do you simply tell them, keep trying? I think there has to be a certain level of predictability. And the beauty about my model is that if you can easily start 100 conversations a week in exactly the way I showed you, these two examples. If you do 100 of these a week, you'll win a client. I don't know how it's with fundraising, probably different there. But if you need to bring in cash, this is the safest way how to actually do that. And on the side, build.
Whenever people get freaked out about raising money, remember, like, raising $100 million is easier than asking somebody, a friend of yours, for $1,000 check. Because the higher you go, the more people are accustomed to actually writing checks, and they're really, and if you just realize it, that somebody who's raising capital is actually just trying to acquire a client who happens to be a client that is under your care and protection. It's not a customer, it's not an LP, it's not an investor, it is a partner of some kind. So raising capital they're just clients who carry big checks. They still need to come in and open the door and walk into your room, and they still need to sit down, and they need to take their hat off because you don't wear hats inside, and they still have to come and share a cup of coffee with you. So I am a big fan of build your LinkedIn persona, build your LinkedIn content in a way that potential future clients can go, wow, seriously? That guy? It's like I have this with clients of mine. They go, are you bugging my office? And I'm like, no. He goes, well, what you said this morning absolutely hits me right here. And that's why I wanted to talk to you. So my content is as you see, I'm always like experimenting, trying lots of different things, and some of it is weird and fails completely, and some of it is wildly successful, because I am reaching my target audience in a place where they recognize that he's talking to me. He's talking to me. I'm not trying to sell something. And if I was trying to sell something right in the beginning, I would turn people so cold. It would be,
of course.
I'm missing it. The only one I haven't been able to convert it is that guy Sanjeev. He's in the
and he said you rejected him.
Well, only because he kept wanting free stuff and didn't want to put. He has like T-Rex arms. He doesn't want to put his hands in his pocket and pay for my LinkedIn course. And I'm like, the LinkedIn course is basically charity, dude. But anyway, I enjoy him a lot. He's been on. Lauralouise came up with a wonderful concept during COVID, which was these like cocktails, liquid Zoom cocktails, where we'd all meet up and have drinks at night. And obviously Sanjeev was in London at the end of the night with a cigar out by the fireplace. And sometimes I think he'd had way too many drinks. You couldn't understand him anymore, but it was hilarious. And we had so much fun. So we bonded over that, but no, he never became a client, because guess what? I never followed it up. And I never squeezed him in a corner where I said, Sanjeev, this is the solution for you. You should, sign up and pay for this. You know what I mean?
Exactly. So now that you have the tools, Anric, and now that we successfully overcame your fear of rejection by you sharing your worst rejection live, I'm pretty sure you now have the tools to start following up with people and to do some nice inbound prospecting.
I don't think I have, actually. So I still don't know how to do it. So talk slowly and tell me what I need to do.
Okay, very simple. You just say one sentence when somebody connects with you. When somebody requests your connection, you ask, hi, first name, great to be connected, curious, did anything in my profile or my content catch your attention? And with that, you will just unleash a torrent of things that they say, yeah, I saw this, and then you said this, that was quite interesting. And people will tell you what they found interesting about you, what they've seen. And that gives you a great hook to simply continue the conversation like you would if you met them at the whatever local country club. And you will say, oh, interesting. Why do you say that? And why did that resonate? Are you trying to raise funds yourself? And they will say, yeah, actually, we are looking to raise. I've been in the game for a while. And then all you do is, that might be something I could help you with. How about we jump on a 15-minute Zoom call?
So do you have a systematic approach to keeping this? Because I mean, I have the kind of shake, rattle, and roll method that gets me lots of inbound contacts.
Mm-hmm.
You sabotaged my post yesterday. I call that the greased pole, the lubricated pole approach, where you create a post, people make a comment. From the comment, you slide them into your DMs to give them what they want and invite them to an event. Okay, it works like an absolute charm, because now you've stopped the scrolling. You've got people to start chatting to you. Other people are seeing the social proof. The algorithm sees the proof. It promotes your post up the rung. You're segueing people from the post into the commenting into the DMs. In the DMs, you send them something special, which is really just a cut and paste, right, to an event. And in the event, they get to see you live. Now we have a relationship and we have a connection. And that's why I like Zoom events, because then I can see all the people and I can talk to them, right? So you just happen to have sabotaged the event, the post yesterday, by posting the link to today's event in it all. So it didn't quite work so well, but it normally works really, really well. So I prefer that, because I get to go and give people value and build a relationship and connect before I have ever asked them anything. And I mean, I just had a consultation call with a client of mine this morning that I'm really helping build a super magnet like this. And I said to him, I'm like, basically, if you're not asking to be a client of mine, you never will be, because you've got to ask me nicely. You see what I mean? So I love outbound marketing when I'm responding to something you asked me for. So is that just my psychology that's getting in the way?
No, I think that is exactly the right way to go for somebody who's at your level. I think that is exactly the right way to go. All I'm saying is that when you, in terms of this is outbound, right? What you described was outbound. You should not be doing outbound with like strangers or just semi-warm people. No, you need to do outbound with people who request to connect with you. And that's not outbound anymore. That's inbound, because they came to you. And all you want is to know why they connected. Okay. That's it. That's what you want to find out. And then you dig a little by asking things like, and so in what context and what do you do, where you inquire for them. So what kind of project are you currently working on? That's the broad thing, right? That's what project are you working on? And if they say something to the tune that could be interpreted as we're having challenges with our fundraise, that's when you suggest, I might be able to help with that. Don't say I can help, because that sounds a bit arrogant. So say, I might be able to help with that. How about we jump on a call? Because you don't know enough yet. You only know that you might know. But there's actually one thing, Anric, that you said that was really key. That is so important. And this also people have to understand. Anric has been in this game for decades. Global Fund Advisors, you've been at it for what, 15, 17 years or something like that? There you go. So he obviously knows his customers like the palm of his hand. He knows exactly what they're struggling with and how he can help. This takes time to build. Many people who are on LinkedIn have had their business for a year, for 2 years, and so on. So this kind of deep, intimate client knowledge, where they talk to you and say, did you bug my office? That needs to develop. You need to understand that. And the key thing is, this is so important, and I've really learned this, by having these conversations with people via outbound and inbound, you learn about them. You learn about their challenges. You learn about their problems. This actually accelerates your path towards the point where Anric is right now. Okay? And Anric, because you go for it. You had a question?
No, I mean, my current strategy is interesting. So I don't, because remember, I came from a much bigger LinkedIn profile, right? I had grown to 34,000 contacts, and then I realized this is dumb. I don't know any of these people, and I'm sure half of them are bots. And I basically, got into a fight over something stupid with LinkedIn, and my profile was deleted. So I had to start from scratch. And I really said, look, I would much rather have a small group of contacts. And I picked an arbitrary number of 1,000, and I realized that 1,000 is a little too small. But once you get to like 3,500 to 5,000 people who actually know you, who read your content, who engage with you, they might not do it all the time, but if somebody says, hey, do you know Anric Blatt? They go, yep, I know that guy. You know what I mean? And I know what he does to help people. That's the important part, right? I changed my whole philosophy around it. So now when I have a new connection, I send them to a sacrificial lamb post that I have that is an explanation of who I am. It's very personal. It's like, this is where I grew up, this is where I went, and so on. And I ask them to leave a comment on that post so that I know they saw it. The LinkedIn algorithm recognizes that, oh, here are two new connections that actually want to see each other's content, because otherwise, if you know anything about LinkedIn, after 7 days, you disappear back into the never land again. And then I immediately go to their content and I leave a comment on one of their posts. So now the LinkedIn algorithm knows, Michael and Anric, they want to see each other's stuff. That becomes a real connection. That person just got a little intro of who I am. They are now seeing my content. I produce a number of like silly, stupid, but very useful videos all day long. I just did 3 of them. I did one for your wife yesterday.
Yeah, it was great.
Right? And I can do them in 30 seconds, boom, upload it, get it done. So now they start seeing the real Anric turn up, and they see me constantly helping, lifting, every now and then having a wild rant at something that I think is worthy of standing up. And like that, I'd like to repeat a conversation I had with my client this morning, who is building a very interesting business, and he's a very special, deep guy who is afraid to stand up and be judged and crucified on his faith. And he strongly, like me, abhors the concept of abortion and taking somebody's life. Okay. So that is a very polarizing issue. And I'm like, you know what? Stand up for what you believe in, because you need to, if you want to be counted, you need to be standing up for what you believe in. And if you offend people by that, well, guess what? Get it over and done with right in the beginning, because you're going to offend each other in step 3 of your funnel anyway. And once it comes clear that this person is a crazy, like, pro-abortion guy, blah, 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 he's not going to want to deal with you anyway. You know what I mean? So you might as well respectfully, intentionally, authentically stand up for what it is that you are. And you can do that in video. And you can do that on LinkedIn, so that the people that are wandering through your garden, that are talking to you, that are engaging with you, that are seeing your content, that are sniffing you out, by the end of that month, they know you, they like you, and they trust you. And they see that you are not afraid of standing up for the things that matter for you. And voila, you have just built the first step of a superconducting magnet. So that has always been my policy on that one, because if you try and fit in, and you try and make everybody happy, and you try and attract everybody, you're going to fail at that.
Cool. Absolutely agree. Up to a point, but yeah, I think obviously, as you said, you coined the term respectful authenticity. I like it. I use it. Don't tell people too many of your like personal challenges, but do not hide what really is important to you that you want to share. Right.
Yeah.
We have a question. That's a good question from David Rapalski. Have you experimented with the wording of your inbound connection message? I'm wondering on different results of, is there something on my profile got you to connect versus what did you see on my profile made you want to connect? One is an open question, which is better, I believe, but I feel like it sounds a little pushy. Honestly, I would just test it out and see what works better, track it. But most importantly, David, you need to add, the fact is that people usually resonate with something that you say. The progression is you have some content. Let me just remove this so we don't only show the tops of our heads. You have some content, you post comments. People tend to see that. Then they go to your profile and then they connect. So you might want to ask them, something in my content or my profile catch your attention? I feel this is a not pushy, because if you ask what in my profile made you connect, it's like you're forcing them to come up with something. If you say, however, was there something in my profile or content that caught your attention, that I think is a better, and because it's a little bit more friendly way of asking.
So I would always go with something that is absolutely authentic, and it's got to be a real question. Where if I were to re-engineer and redesign my process, it would be a little bit like, hi, thanks. I always say to people, hey, thanks for making the first move. Or if I'm reaching out to somebody, I go, I thought I would risk rejection this morning and reach out and connect with you. And it is
good.
I have 100% success rate in that, by the way.
So you do some conversation starts?
I do conversation starts with people that are wandering through my content.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like cold anything. Except cold beer. That should be cold. And the style of it is that it's absolutely authentic. And then I go, as you know, I do this and that. Was there anything in my profile or recent posts that triggered this connection? Because I'm very grateful for it and I would like to know more. So that would be my style of writing that in an authentic way that guarantees me an answer.
That's good. That's good. Yeah, that's a good line. Definitely.
And I always say to people, write in the way that you speak, write in your authentic style. And if you are kind of like a little weird or something, or you have a little weird sense of humor, just own it, man. Just own it.
Yeah. I recently asked somebody with my weird sense of humor and he stopped responding. I buy that. I accept that. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. Hey, we're almost done with time, and I do want to stick to the time. There's just there's one thing I wanted to add. I do have an offer for you all. So there is something I do want to offer, because I have not built it yet. So I just want to see, because we have quite a few people here on the presentation. I want to see if there's any interest. And this is what
no idea what's coming. So
yeah. So here's the deal. I'm building a new low-priced offer in my business, and it's 30 plus inbound and outbound prospecting conversation with my comments and narration. So if you found what I showed you where I had this conversation with John, if you found that useful, I'm going to have 30 of those that I'm going to take you through and narrate it and say, this is what I did right, this is what I did wrong. So if this outbound prospecting and inbound is useful, then do get in touch. And also an in-depth presentation. What I showed you was just a small glimpse of the theory of outbound prospecting. You will get a really in-depth, about an hour presentation on how this works. And the price will be $150, which is just the above. $500, which includes a ton of additional resources, plus an hour with me on Zoom where we go through your conversations. I forgot to write it out, but your conversation that you tried. So the goal is you get the deal, you look at the conversations, you learn how to do it, you practice it for 20 times, and then you schedule a call with me where you then can get feedback from me. And it's only for the participants of this live that I'm offering. This is a 50% discount, also because I haven't built it yet. So I just want to see if there's demand for this in the market. If you're interested, get in touch with me, send me a DM. We can work it out. You're going to get a 50% discount on it. So you're going to get, for $250, you're going to get all my materials, plus an hour of my time. This is it's a pretty good offer, I would say. And I will then build it. So it's going to take me about a week to get that prepared. So if you're ready to pull the trigger, just let me know, and we can work this out. So just a very quick 1.5 minute pitch from me.
I obviously don't know that there is a pitch here. Now, this, to be honest, to me feels like sleazy and like a webinar upsell sign up, which, as you know, I never ever do. But I think in some ways, Michael, you're absolutely right, because now follow me through here. So at first I'm like, oh God, he's making a sales pitch. Like, oh no, don't do that. You see what I mean? That's my first instinct. But my second instinct, when I think about it, is actually correct, because there are people on this call who would love to learn how to do this. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I think that is your fear of rejection talking, or like, and it's perfectly understandable, right? But I'm thinking this will help people, and given the price, it's a really good deal. So this can help people to get better at this. So for me personally, it's not an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of cool, because you're in some ways you're really helping people, actually execute and learn how to do this. So I'm okay with it, even though I repel it right initially, and it offends me somewhat to be, what, you're selling something here? We're supposed to be adding value. Yeah, I mean.
Oh, we did. I think we added quite a bit of value. Hey, let me know in the comments if anything that we said really sparked your interest. If you thought it was interesting, please let us know in the comments. That would be great. And then finally, we were promised the Anric and Lauralouise story.
Yeah, she's annoyed with me, so I don't know if I want to go into that today. But
okay, so join the next call to hear that. Is it too salesy again? Too salesy for you?
Yeah. Way too salesy. That's why one of my favorite videos, of one of my most downloaded videos, is like why you should never call your event a webinar, because people hate webinars. But the story was really one of, we were talking about it yesterday, about rejection. And it was an interesting thing when I first met Lauralouise. We were introduced on a business level, because I had built this business called Global Fund Exchange as a platform, and before we realized that we had raised like $1.7 billion for it, and I'm like, holy shit, who's going to run this thing? So a friend of mine, Bucky Isaacson, said, I know just the person that's going to, that could run this. Next time you're in New York. And I said, oh, that'll be next week. I'll introduce you. So we met at dinner, and, there's a very long story about it, how I basically just, pretended I was a sheep farmer, essentially. But by the time Lauralouise and I connected, and she came for dinner with a colleague of mine, she ignored me the whole evening. So it was 4 of us sitting at dinner at the Spice Market in New York, and she just basically ignored me, because you see, the previous day I tricked her into, her thinking that I was just some kind of sheep herder. You know what I mean? Lauralouise is actually online, yeah. So I better watch my P's and Q's. But it was super interesting, because we sit down for dinner. She ignores me. She puts all of her attention into our other guests, but the energy was going bzz, 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 between us. Then I gave her the menu, and I said, look, do you mind ordering? And she ordered the whole friggin' menu. Then I'm like, well, I can order all the drinks. And I ordered all the drinks. And eventually I just couldn't take this anymore, this energy between us. And the fact that she was kind of like ignoring me, but the sparks were flying, man. So on my way to the bathroom, I just get up and I grab her face, and I said, I can't take this anymore. I just have to kiss this girl. And I literally just plant a giant smooch right on her. And she didn't miss a beat. As I'm walking off to the bathroom, she goes, how about them Yankees? You know what I mean? And she didn't miss a beat. But talk about putting yourself out there for rejection, right?
I mean, yeah. That wouldn't fly this year anymore.
Well, it didn't fly with Lauralouise either. I mean, she walks around with this neon sign on her head that says, don't even fucking think about it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. She is not a person that you do this with. But you know what? I just went for it because, hey,
well,
no guts, no glory. You know what I mean?
If the sparks are flying, you got to light the fire, man.
Yeah. So that was a that was a really, really super wonderful thing, but she's very annoyed with me at the moment. So, I told you that I gave you the tuned down version.
Awesome. Good. Well, you definitely got a lot of people smiling with this story. And I hope that something of what we said was useful to you guys. It's almost like a little bit like yin and yang with Anric and myself, where he definitely is the man for when you want to build an attractive persona on LinkedIn. You definitely need to follow his stuff, follow his content, sign up into his garden of content. And if it is where you think, okay, this might take a while before I build up this kind of persona and status that I have on LinkedIn, follow me and for the daily tips on outbound prospecting and similar things.
I think it can take you 3 weeks. That's it. That's all that you need to do. But I think the perfect combination is actually what you and I both do, because you need to go and create this garden of content that makes it attractive, where people can see how you're hanging with your dudes and what you're doing, and your special little treats that you've left for them, your spontaneous quotes that drive people in it. But then I think you should have an outbound strategy that is absolutely crystal clear on who your ideal future raving fan client is. And you should have a 1, 2, maybe a 3-step strategy to reach out to them, connect with them, and pull them into your garden of content, and then let them walk around. You see what I mean? So I actually think like Michael and I, we should have children. I mean, because they would be the perfect LinkedIn child.
Yeah, exactly. Let's work on that. Let's make it happen.
Let's not. All right. See you guys. I'm going to run.
Okay.